This plaque marks the spot of Mission Santa Cruz, the 12th mission established along the El Camino Real. It was consecrated in 1791 by Father Fermin Francisco. The story of Mission Santa Cruz is about not just a building or two, but the entire area of the Mission Hill Historic District. Come on, let's dive into the history of Mission Santa Cruz. The story begins on August 28, 1791, when Mission Santa Cruz was founded as the 12th mission along El Camino del Real. This mission was established by Fermin Francisco de Lasuen, who was the successor to Father Juan de Pedro Serra. It is one of the smaller missions in the 4th Military District under the protection of the Presidio in San Francisco. Like the other missions, Mission Santa Cruz was an ecclesiastical conversion site for the natives of the region. First were the Amah Mutsun, or later known as Ohlone, and later the Yokut people from the Central Valley were brought in from the east. The original mission was a small structure dedicated on September 25, 1791, and was located at the bottom of what is now Mission Hill. This is located at what is now the intersection of River and North Pacific Streets on the San Lorenzo River's floodplain. That winter, the mission flooded, and over the next 3 years, the mission will be relocated and built at the top of the hill overlooking the river. The front wall of the mission Adobe, built in 1794, was destroyed by the Tejon earthquake of 1857. Meanwhile, a wooden facade was added to the old native dormitory, and the building was later used for other purposes. A new wooden church was built next door. In 1889, the current Gothic Revival style Holy Cross Church was built in the same orientation over the original church site and part of the cemetery. In 1993, the cemetery wall was defined and developed as a memorial and native plant garden. Today, if you go behind this building, you will see a marker indicating that this spot was where the original mission chapel was located. The next part of our tour is the replica of the mission chapel. And here is the chapel of Mission Santa Cruz, or at least a replica of it. The original chapel collapsed by earthquake in 1857 and was replaced by the current Catholic Church, which is right over there. Built out of concrete in 1931, this is a great look into the old mission life and is currently used as a small chapel for the parish church. It is also a popular place for baptisms and small weddings due to the inviting interior of the chapel. A reduced-sized replica of the original chapel was proposed by Gladys Sullivan Dwyer in 1931. She contributed all the construction costs for the building, with the only requirement be that she be allowed to be buried inside the structure. Her grave can be found in a small side room. Since there are no surviving photographs or drawings of the original structure, the design was adapted from a painting by French painter Leon Tresset from 1876. The original painting now hangs in the nave of the chapel. It is not just the interior of this chapel that is worth looking at. There is a small garden behind the church, which includes the original hand-carved baptismal font, which was located in the sanctuary. Our last point of interest is the Neri Rodriguez Adobe, which is the only surviving original Adobe mission building. And here we are, Santa Cruz Mission State Historic Park. Let's go check it out. Formerly a dormitory for the Native American residents, it has been restored as part of the Santa Cruz Mission State Historic Park. Amongst the exhibits is this model showing the full mission complex as it would have been during the days of the mission's operation, which included up to 32 buildings. Other exhibits include the native tribes that were in the area, an example of a dormitory room used by the native people who were living at the mission. There's also a room showcasing the construction techniques of the Adobe buildings and some cracks from the 1989 earthquake. The last room is an exhibit about life after the mission days were over and the building was owned by an Irish family living in Santa Cruz, and showcases some of their furnishings like chairs, cabinets, and pictures, as well as period wallpaper. After exploring the interior of this building, let's check out the picnic grounds outside, where we can get a nice, pleasant look at the greenery that this place has to offer. This makes a comfortable place to have a picnic while exploring the mission history of Santa Cruz. Speaking of Santa Cruz, it's up here on the picnic grounds where you can get a great view of the city from on top Mission Hill. And boy, isn't it a great sight to see the beauty that is Santa Cruz. Another interesting feature about Mission Hill is Tunnel 8. Directly under the mission, it was completed by the Santa Cruz and Felton Railroad Company in 1876. This was made after the city of Santa Cruz had ruled that locomotives could not travel Pacific Avenue, as originally tended by the railroad. Initially built to connect to the logging operations near Felton, this tunnel essentially became a great throughway to Los Gatos when Southern Pacific took over operations in 1881. Long enough to be used by the famous Suntan Special until damage in the Santa Cruz Mountains occurred in 1940. Today, this tunnel is used by the Santa Cruz, Big Trees, and Pacific Railroad for its excursions between Felton and the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. And that is where we'll end our tour and history lesson about Mission Santa Cruz. Like, comment, and subscribe to see future adventures. I can't wait to see you there. But until then, see you later, folks, and may your gifts bless the world.